Welcome to DWBIADDA channel. Please subscribe for latest training videos.
Hello to you all. Today we are going to talk about Android Studio Layout Editor. Android Studio Layout Editor enables us to build layouts by dragging components onto the screen or editing the XML layout file. With Android Studio Layout Editor, we can build layouts by dragging components onto the screen instead of writing the layout XML by hand. Don't worry, you can still switch view and edit XML with text editor if you want. Now we're here in the resource folder and then layout folder. As you can see, we have so many layouts here, so let's select one of them. And here we are, our register layout is loaded. As you can see, we have many items here, so I'll explain you this user interface. We have two components of Android layout editor here, that's component tree and palette. So component tree represents everything that our design screen contains. Palette represents design objects that we can use, and they are distributed in 8 categories, as you can see: common, text, buttons, widgets, layouts, containers, Google, and legacy. So after explanation of this part, I'm going to explain difference between these two objects here. This is the design and this is the blueprint. Design view, a real world preview of your layout, and the blueprint view, only outlines for each view. We can combine these two like I did here, or we can show just one of them. Now let's go and explain toolbar for design, that's this here. It provides buttons to configure your layout design in the editor and helps you change some layout attributes. In addition, here you can change the size of the display to check if constraints work as expected. Here you can also find alignments and connection tools. Now let me go through our component tree so I can explain you what do we have here. We have some text input layouts. So inside these text input layouts we have some edit text. What are edit texts? Edit texts are design objects which we use to type in some text. As I said, we have 3 edit texts, then we have button. I think it's clearly what button is. Then we have 2 text views. What is text view? Text view is used to represent some text. So that would be it about our component tree. Now let's go to the object attributes. Object attributes are represented here on the right side of the screen. Attributes are properties for components in your layout. Most of the time attributes will describe visual aspects of components, but sometimes they are used to set layout behavior as well and set parameters the tools. The attributes window, which you can see here, is a list of properties you can set for your component. Typical properties are text, hint, ID, background, text size. All the aspects of components can be set with attributes found here. I think the explanation was good. As you can see, we can set some characteristics for our design objects here. And now let's go to the detailed explanation of attributes. As you can see, we have different type of attributes here. We have all attributes, common attributes, and declared attributes. So let's explain all attributes. When you start using layout editor, the L attributes section will be hidden in a separate section. For older versions, you can see a link at the bottom of the attributes palette. All attributes is great. Furthermore, you can use it to search for attributes that you know you want to set but are not a part of commonly used attributes. Also, for searching, it's best to have your view switched to all attributes. Now let's go to the declared attributes. Declared attributes is a section which lists attributes specified in the layout file. When you add a value to a new attribute for a component of the layout, this attribute will become a part of declared attributes. In addition, this means that it will be quicker to find all the used attributes. Now let's talk about text editor. As you can see, we have 2 options here: design, which is actual, and text. So let's go to the text and I'll explain text editor there. In the text editor, we can define the visual aspects of components with the XML code. XML code is everything that you see here. When we are using a text editor for our XML, we can also see a preview of that screen in real time as you write the code. So that will be this option here. A great way to learn about XML is to use Layout Editor and design your layouts and check the XML code. With every change you will understand more. Nice practice can be, for example, calculator app. And basically that would be it for XML. XML is nothing complex. As you can see, every attribute that we have here we can set also in this attributes window. So now let's review some most used attributes. ID. ID is the most important attribute of every design object because it is something that enables us to initialize our design objects. IDs need to be unique for every design object, and be careful because if you name two design objects with same ID, there will be some conflicts. Now, after explaining everything about design object as it is and his attributes, let's go and explain constraints. Constraints are great for making your layout work on different display sizes. With constraints, you are describing the position of components on the screen. Also, because there are not fixed values, Android can resize and move them around with rules you have set. Using constraints, you're actually making a constraint layout, which I also use, and that is the best way of making your apps responsive. Constraint layout is maybe the most complex layout, but if you learn to design with constraint layouts, your applications will be responsive for all screen sizes. And what it means for all screen sizes, I'll show you now. If you here in toolbar select this option, you'll find out many screen sizes. As you can see, phone, tablet, Wear, TV and virtual device. So if you select this layout, you can see that our layout is spreading. Now we have some other layout like this, and because of constraint layout, our screen looks very nice, even if this device is many times bigger than this device. So that's why constraint layout is best. We can make a connection by dragging and dropping the entry. For that, we need to click on the circle in appropriate constraint and drag it to the element or border. Android Studio makes the connection for you. So as you can see, we'll drag this entry here, and then our objects are connected. Also, we can change our margins. Let's go to the all attributes and then search for margins. And as you can see, we can set our margins. Our margin top is now 8 dps, but I'd like to set it to 24 dps. And as you can see, our design is now different. Now let's choose something more distanced, 48 dps, and it's perfect now. You'll probably asking yourself, what is DP? DP is Android Studio's unit for distancing objects, and it means dimensional pixel. I have to warn you, when you work with constraint layout, you need to be careful, because if you don't have at least one connection at the sides and you don't have connection at the top or bottom, you'll get some errors. That's because device doesn't know where to place the object because it's not constrained. So constraint layout is very useful and best layout, but it can cause many errors, so be careful when you are using it. We can define our constraints here also. As you can see, here are the constraints in the XML code, but I suggest you to do that in the design tab because it's way easier. That would be it about design part, and now let's show a little bit of code. Let me explain you how we connect our design objects with our code. So let's go to the code of this layout. Let's activity main. So here we are. First contact with Java code, and as you can see, I've hide some functions so you can see them, because we'll learn about them later. And now let me explain you how we connect our code with design. So first thing that we need to do is to define what objects do we use. We have edit text, we have button and text view. These are names of edit texts. This is the name of button and name of text views. Now let's go to initializing them. So initialization is the most important part about connecting your code with design. We have one pattern that we need to use every time, and I'll explain every step of that pattern now. So first of all, we have name of our design object, edit text name here. Then we have equals and then type of design object, as you can see, edit text. Then find view by ID, so the device can find that object by its ID, and then we type its ID, r.id.ename. This ename is the unique ID that I mentioned before, and I said that it's very important, and now you can see why. As you can see, we have ID here, ename. If there are two objects with this ID, our device have a problem to choose the right one. As you can see, this pattern repeats every time. We have for edit text, we have for text views, and for button. So as I said, name of the design object, type of the design object, find view by ID, and then the ID. Basically, this would be it for this tutorial about design and connecting our code with design. So let me give a conclusion. Be creative when you design your application and pay special attention to look of your application, because many users will avoid your application if your design is not professional. Design is what users see, so every time when you're creating an application, pay special attention to your design. That would be it. Thank you and bye.